look at the whole of government approach, it is a unified approach, it is a unified effort of many stakeholders. The stakeholding is done by UIDAI, primarily DOPPW is the main flag bearer, MITI, then CGDA from the Ministry of Defence, all the pension disbursement banks, the IPPB and leading into them. The Indian Postal Payment Bank also shoulders a great responsibility and stakeholders. We will listen from them also when they speak. This is the IPPB. The pictorial slide, you can understand, they reach doorstep. You can see old pensioners, very happy faces to give DLCs by our department. But they have affiliates, a number of affiliates with them, and through this we reach out to each pensioner, be it of the central government, be it of the state government, be it of the EPFO, Ministry of Defence. Each pensioner is reached, and the PWAs have a major role in this. This campaign, we have scaled it up, and the target this time is a mammoth target of 2 crore DLCs to be generated, from 1.62 to 2 crore. 2,000 district towns and cities across all states. We are having camps by all our stakeholders, 2,500 camps, so one city can have multiple camps. You can understand 1,250 nodal officers, they are all mapped to one single portal, the DLC, revamped DLC portal, and through this on a daily basis it is monitored at the highest level. The adoption of saturation approach, we are already seeing a major surge in the figures. This is the daily infographics which is generated, and you can understand 55 lakh DLCs have been already generated, which is 1/4 of the target, and we are just into 4th, 5th of the November. And if you compare it with last year's figure, it was around 34 lakhs, and the jump is almost 20 lakhs of DLCs. The face authentication technology, which has picked up from DLC 2.0 to DLC 3.0, there was a surge from 23 lakhs to 52 lakhs. Face authentication. It is so easy, 20 seconds mein banta hai for DLC. So we are hoping that this time we'll cross the face authentication also will be almost doubled. This is the leadership, the highest leadership. He tweeted, he spoke on the Constitution Day address, Man Ki Baat. Honorable Prime Minister has been mentioning this, and this has given a great impetus to the campaign. Leadership by our Honorable Minister, who will be joining in a few minutes. He has been constantly on the drive. His leadership, his involvement in the campaign has been phenomenal for its growth. So from our side, we can say it through this, through our media friends, that this campaign wants to reach to each pensioner.
A great success. Here, sir, be rest assured that there will be India Post Payment Bank will be able to give a proper success, and will also be able to do it with face authentication. And by achieving this, I am also giving the best luck for achieving your target. Thank you, sir.
सबसे पहले पेंशन और पेंशनभोगी कल्याण विभाग को जो है बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहूँगा कि माननीय मंत्री जी और सचिव महोदय के नेतृत्व में इतनी उत्कृष्ट श्रेणी का कार्य जो है किया जा रहा है, और लगभग 4-5 दिन के अंतराल में ही 55 लाख पेंशनर्स के जीवन प्रमाण जारी किए गए हैं, और लगभग 2 करोड़ का टारगेट है। तो मुझे लगता है कि कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि महीना समाप्त होने से पहले ही आपका टारगेट पूरा हो जाए। तो मैं बहुत इस उपलब्धि के लिए बुरी सराहना करता हूँ, प्रशंसा करता हूँ और धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। और आपके साथ साथ सर, यहाँ पे जितने भी लोग इस कार्यक्रम में जुड़े हुए हैं, विभाग की जो शाखाएं हैं, उसके अतिरिक्त जो गवर्नमेंट की एंटिटीज़ हैं, न केवल केंद्र सरकार की बल्कि राज्य सरकारों की जो एंटिटीज़ हैं जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम में बढ़ चढ़ कर भाग लिया है, बहुत सारे बैंक्स हैं जिन्होंने इसको फैसिलिटेट किया है, इंडिया पोस्ट पेमेंट बैंक है, उन्होंने इसमें अपना योगदान दिया है, और काफ़ी बड़ी संख्या में जो पेंशनर वेलफेयर एसोसिएशंस हैं उन्होंने जिस प्रकार से कार्यक्रम आयोजित कराए हैं और पेंशनर के पास जाकर उनके पास पहुंच के किसी न किसी ऑथेंटिकेशन माध्यम से, जिसमें से फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन काफ़ी पॉपुलर है, उनका जीवन प्रमाण जारी कराया है और ये सुविधा उनको उपलब्ध कराई है कि इस वयोवृद्ध अवस्था में भी उन्हें बिना किसी कष्ट के और कहीं जाए हुए घर बैठे हुए अपना वो जीवन प्रमाण पत्र जारी कर पा रहे हैं। और ये टेक्नोलॉजी की एक उपलब्धि कहा जाएगा। फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन टेक्नोलॉजी उपलब्ध हो गई है और सबसे अच्छी बात ये है कि ये इन हाउस है, इंडिजिनस है, भारत में विकसित है, UIDAI ने इसको विकसित किया है और ये सरल है, ये सुरक्षित है, इसलिए इसका अडॉप्शन बहुत तेज़ी से बढ़ा। हम ये देख रहे हैं कि जब 2022 में फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन को लॉन्च किया गया तो इसका प्रभाव धीरे धीरे आना शुरू हुआ, धीरे धीरे इसकी ग्रोथ हुई और हमें करीब 18 महीने का समय लग गया 50 करोड़ ऑथेंटिकेशन पहुंचने में। और टोटल जो हमारे 50 करोड़ से 100 करोड़ ऑथेंटिकेशन है वो अगले 6 महीने में हो गए, डबल। और फिर 100 से 200 करोड़ अगले 6 महीने। तो मूर्स लॉ को पकड़ लिया है, अब हर 6 महीने में फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन डबल हो जा रहे हैं और हर महीने और प्रतिदिन अगर हम इसकी ग्रोथ देखें तो नए कीर्तिमान स्थापित हो रहे हैं।
The benefit of the minister, honorable minister, I'll just run you through those slides. We are the DLC campaign 4 and I mentioned it multiple times about this campaign. We have this whole of government approach in this DLC 3.0 and of course DLC 4 also has these all multiple stakeholders, UIDAI, MITI, CGDA from the Ministry of Defence, the banks, the Department of Telecom, the pensioner welfare associations, as you know sir, are very closely associated, Department of Posts and IPPB, Indian Postal Payment Bank.
Jiten Singh ji, Minister of State, other distinguished personalities present on the dais, the esteemed members and representatives of the press and media. I am honored to be here and I am thankful to Shri Srinivas ji for welcoming me to this, inviting me to this occasion. And I will be representing Ministry of Railways and I will be just briefing you on few of the steps that Railways will be taking to make this campaign a success. As we all know that Railways is the lifeline of our country, but it is also a very vast fraternity of employees. Either they are retired or they are serving. So it is the responsibility of Indian Railways to try to touch each and every retiree employee of the Railways to get this DLC done. So what we are planning is that, and we know that today's initiative, like it's a tribute to those who have served the Railways with devotion and distinction. The Digital Life Certificate, या जिसको हम जीवन प्रमाण कहते हैं, it's a key initiative under the Government of India vision. It enables pensioners to submit their life certificate digitally from the comforts of their homes or at designated facilitation centers without the need of physical visits to different offices or banks and other units. So like this innovation is in light of the vision of our Honorable PM in making our country a digital India. And this will bring ease, transparency and timeliness to the entire pension disbursement process. Like with the launch of DLC 4.0 campaign, Indian Railways is undertaking a month-long nationwide drive to ensure that every pensioner can conveniently submit their life certificate through digital means. This year's campaign emphasizes awareness, accessibility and assistance. For making this drive a success, Indian Railways is organizing felicitation camps at different locations. So as we all know, like railways, we have various zones like Northern Railway, Central Railway, we all know about that. So, and then we have a lot of divisions all over railways. And then there are the production units and other workshops, and we have many more units like that. So we'll be organizing camps on these, at these units on a regular daily basis. Besides this, we'll be organizing mega camps, maybe 1 or 2 by each of the zonal railways.
Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievance and Pensions, Pensioners of India, Secretary Pension, Department of Pension and Pensioners Welfare, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, respected pensioners and colleagues. Namaskar. It is an honor and privilege to be here today at the inauguration of DLC 4 campaign. The visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Ji, whose commitment to digital empowerment of pensioners gave birth to the Jeevan Pramaan initiative. The Jeevan Pramaan project, which enabled digital life certificate submission, beautifully embodies our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi Ji's nation first, citizen first approach, a vision to make governance more responsive, transparent and compassionate. Under the dedicated guidance of Honorable Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji and through the tireless efforts of the Secretary Pension and his team, this vision has been transformed into reality. What once required pensioners to physically visit offices every year has now evolved into a seamless digital process, bringing convenience, dignity and efficiency right to their doorsteps. In the Department of Telecommunications, we take pride in being one of the leading departments in implementing this vision. Last year, we achieved more than 98% of our DLC's digital life certificate targets, thanks to the tireless effort of our field offices, and above all, the willingness of our pensioners to embrace digital transformation. Sir,
Honored to be here under the leadership of the DOPPW, who are doing a commendable job, as all the previous speakers have mentioned. In the Defence Accounts Department, sir, we have a unique position where we are actually the pension sanctioning authorities as well as the authorities tasked with dispersal of pensions. So it's a dual responsibility that we have. Sir, we are actively participating in the National Digital Life Certificate Campaign 4.0 being conducted under the aegis of DOPPW during the month of November 25. By gearing up our approximately 200 Sparsh service centers, so the Sparsh centers are the ones who handle the grievances and issues relating to the Sparsh, located across the length and breadth of the country. Special emphasis is on identification of pensioners through the face authentication technology mode. Sensitization and training in respect of identification of pensioners using face authentication technology has been provided to all the officers and staff deployed at these Sparsh centers. Additional manpower will be deployed to operate a number of counters to cater to senior, super senior pensioners, injured pensioners and family pensioners. In this month so far, we've already done 3.4 lakh DLCs, which is a substantial number in the first 3 or 4 days of this month. We have requested the services headquarters to appoint nodal officers at all stations for close liaisoning and monitoring with the departmental and DOPPW nodal officers. We've also requested to sensitize pensioners by displaying notices, banners in the areas, offices, buildings like CSD canteens, ECHS polytechnics, Pensioner Welfare Association buildings, Zilla Sainik boards, etc. The last mile connectivity by active participation of Sparsh service centers. In this, apart from the 202 departmental Sparsh service centers, we also have signed MOUs with about 13 banks to provide services as Sparsh service centers, which can be approached by defense pensioners for identification. We have identified about 80 cities for conduct of Sparsh outreach program, and I'm glad to state that Secretary Pension will be joining us for the upcoming one in Chennai. We have involved various stakeholders like Veteran Pensioner Welfare Association, Zilla Raj Sainik boards, local military authorities, record officers and head of offices. The information regarding which will be available on Sparsh departmental and departmental websites.
7 वर्षों में कई कैंपेन्स चलाया था, प्रशासन गांव की और कैंपेन्स, स्पेशल कैंपेन्स फॉर स्वच्छता एंड रिड्यूसिंग पेंडेंसी, और ये 4 वर्षों से डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट कैंपेन। मुझे आश्चर्य हुआ परसों जब आपने मुझे मैसेज किया कि पहली बार पर्सनल टच भी था दैट आप खुद स्वयं पेंशनर हैं और आपको डीएलसी कैंपेन के बारे में गवर्नमेंट ऑफ जम्मू कश्मीर से मैसेज आया कि आपने अपना डीएलसी सबमिट करें। ये पहली बार है सर, जैसे आपको विदित है, आपने 100 प्रश्नों से ज़्यादा आपने पार्लियामेंट में जवाब दिए डीएलसी कैंपेन के ऊपर, और ये भी कमिटमेंट था कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स को भी हम रोप इन करेंगे। तो इस वर्ष लगभग 7 स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स भी हमारे साथ वर्क कर रहे हैं और आपका डीएलसी हम आज यहाँ जनरेट करना चाहते हैं विद योर परमिशन सर। तो बंसल जी,
You have let out a heavily guarded secret that I am a pensioner.
with your permission sir, we will generate your digital life certificate here and बंसल जी सामने आओ, सामने आकर ले जाओ सर। परमिट आपका डीएलसी इज रेडी। अनिल बंसल जी विल जस्ट सर आप
अरे सर साइड
सर सामने
सर सामने है सर।
सर सामने फ्रंट
सर लाइट बंद हो गई फोन की।
अनिल लाइट ऑन करो सर। जैसे आपने देखा है 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds, and honorable minister could generate the DLC in about 10 seconds time. So this is the efficiency of technology. One of the greatest transformations. One of the greatest transformations in terms of digital empowerment of citizens and digital transformation of institutions that represents the best manifestation of maximum governance, minimum government policy of Honorable Prime Minister, implemented under the supervisory oversight of Honorable Minister of State. And sir, personally I have done so many campaigns, but this one campaign has been deeply resonating and extremely satisfying to implement under your leadership. परसों हमने आपका NDMC कन्वेंशन सेंटर में SBI का मेगा कैंप में स्वागत किया था। इसी प्रकार से 2500 कैंप सर हर दिन लग रहे हैं करीब 2000 शहरों में, और बड़ा व्यापक पैमाने पर हर कैंप में 700 से 800 पेंशनर्स आ रहे हैं। एंड CEO UIDAI ने जैसे प्रेजेंट किया है 8 लाख से अधिक जीवन प्रमाण कल एक दिन में प्रेजेंट सबमिट हुए थे। एंड अगेंस्ट 2 करोड़ टारगेट हम लोगों ने ऑलरेडी 55 lakhs पहुंच गए हैं। ऐसा लगता है कि एक महीने का टारगेट शायद 10-15 दिन में we might be reaching 50 to 70% of the target sir. So that is the pace of technology adoption amongst pensioners. इस अवसर पर मैं पेंशनर वेलफेयर एसोसिएशंस भी हैं। RK चौहान जी भारतीय पेंशनर समाज से आए हैं। एट द एज ऑफ 86 they are coordinating 11 lakh DLCs across the country. We are grateful to you also Chauhan ji. Thank you very much to all. Thank you.
कुछ ही धन्यवाद माननीय। राष्ट्रव्यापी डीएलसी अभियान 3.0 पर एक लघु फिल्म बनाई गई है।
डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पेंशन एंड पेंशनर्स वेलफेयर प्रस्तुत करता है डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट कैंपेन 3.0 पर आधारित फिल्म। पेंशन केवल आर्थिक सहायता नहीं बल्कि पेंशनर्स को आत्मनिर्भर और सशक्त बनाने का आधार है। 2014 में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में शुरू हुआ डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट अभियान।
एक समय था जब पेंशन पाने वाले सीनियर सिटीजन बैंक में जाकर साबित करना होता था वो जीवित। आज सीनियर सिटीजन को घर बैठे ही डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट की सुविधा मिल रही है।
वर्ष 2022 डीएलसी कैंपेन 1.0 के अंतर्गत देश भर में आयोजित कैंप के माध्यम से 1 करोड़ 41 लाख से अधिक जीवन प्रमाण पत्र जमा कराए गए। वहीं फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन के द्वारा 3 लाख 41,000 से अधिक जीवन प्रमाण पत्र जमा किए गए। डीएलसी कैंपेन 2.0 और भी सफल रहा। देश भर में आयोजित 600 कैंप के माध्यम से 1,47,00,000 से अधिक और फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन के माध्यम से 25,41,000 से अधिक जीवन प्रमाण पत्र जमा किए गए। वर्ष 2024 में 1 नवंबर से 30 नवंबर तक आयोजित डीएलसी कैंपेन 3.0 ने कई सफल आंकड़ों का निर्माण किया। देश भर में 1,900 से अधिक कैंपों के माध्यम से 1,62,00,000 से ज्यादा और फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन के माध्यम से 52,73,000 से ज्यादा जीवन प्रमाण पत्र जमा किए गए। इस अभियान के तहत 90 वर्ष से अधिक आयु के 84,546 जीवन प्रमाण पत्र जमा कराए गए। इस अभियान से पेंशनर्स को लंबी कतारों से राहत मिली। घंटों की प्रतीक्षा को चंद पलों का कार्य बनाया गया।
Before entering, I was thinking perhaps it may take a few hours. But when I entered, the gentleman came. He took my phone, Aadhaar number and my phone number, and completed the process within minutes. Such a quick process.
Excellent, excellent. It happened so fast. We did not even realize,
बहुत ईजी था। ऐसा आगे की डेवलपमेंट के लिए लोगों को कन्वीनियंस के लिए बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है।
इस चुनौतीपूर्ण प्रक्रिया को सुलभ बनाने में मीडिया अभियान, जिनमें 2,600 से अधिक ट्वीट्स, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के प्रेरणादायी ट्वीट्स से डीएलसी 3.0 अभियान को एक नई ऊर्जा और गति मिली। संसद टीवी पर प्रचार, आकाशवाणी पर रेडियो प्रसारण और डिजिटल मीडिया के सहयोग से यह संदेश देश के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों तक सफलतापूर्वक पहुंचाया गया। इसी के साथ 1,100 नोडल अफसर, 19 बैंक, 57 पेंशनर्स कल्याण संघ और इंडिया पोस्ट पेमेंट बैंक, जिसने 750 से अधिक स्थानों पर अपनी पहुंच सुनिश्चित की। इन सभी के संगठित प्रयासों से यह अभियान सुदूर क्षेत्रों के पेंशनधारियों तक पहुंचाने में सफल रहा।
I have been giving the life certificate by going to the branches. Now we need not go to the branch. We can submit the teacher certificate right from our house. It's very happy and easy thing.
My name is Miss Nirmala Krishnan. Till last year, she used to take me there. It's very good, excellent, I should say.
This policy, the DLC giving is very fine and very easy. From next time onwards, I will give from home through my phone.
इस राष्ट्रव्यापी अभियान के तहत सभी पेंशन वितरण बैंक, रक्षा लेखा महानियंत्रक, CGDA, इंडिया पोस्ट पेमेंट्स बैंक, IPPB तथा भारतीय विशिष्ट पहचान प्राधिकरण UIDAI जैसे अनेकों ने सामूहिक योगदान दिया और इस पहल को ऐतिहासिक बनाया।
जो प्रधानमंत्री अक्सर ये कहा करते हैं होल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, तो होल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट अप्रोच का भी एक ये नमूना आपके सामने पेश हुआ है, जो बाकी सबके लिए भी उनके कामकाज में एक उदाहरण का विषय रहेगा। और चूंकि ये तीसरा अपने तरह का अभियान है, तो पिछले 2 अनुभवों से सीख करके हमारा आत्मविश्वास भी बढ़ा है, हमारा साहस भी बढ़ा है इसको और ज़्यादा विस्तृत करने के लिए।
डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पेंशन एंड पेंशनर्स वेलफेयर ने पेंशनर्स की समस्याओं को गंभीरता से समझकर उन्हें सारी उचित सुविधा उपलब्ध कराई है, जिससे पेंशनर्स का विश्वास और भी दृढ़ हुआ है। आगामी वर्षों में जनता के इस विश्वास को बनाए रखते हुए विभाग और अधिक प्रभावी कदम उठाएगा।
सेक्रेटरी ARP की, UPPW श्री B श्रीनिवास जी, CGDA श्री विश्वजीत सहाय जी, श्री भुवनेश कुमार CEO, मिस वंदना गुप्ता जी, मिस्टर सेन गुप्ता and the ma'am from AIB, officers representing different departments, media friends. At the outset, I have to both thank and also complain to Secretary ARP if I have let the cat out of bag. And reminding me that I am a pensioner and also reminding me of the hard fact that compared to my peers, I got a lesser pension because I took a VRS and lost out on these 2 pay commissions. So, but nevertheless, I think that was a good demonstration. You saw how efficiently it is done. I didn't even have to do anything. Somebody else came and got it generated within a few seconds. And that is, I think, on an average not taking more than 30-40 seconds. And if you feed all the data, then it doesn't take even that. Many of the smarter techie savvy persons, they feed their data beforehand and just during the camp just click the photograph. Now this is one of the unique experiments, a novel experiment which has been cited globally, a success story which is now also being emulated by other countries. We have had delegations of civil servants from different countries, including Maldives, Mongolia, from time to time. And they come here and they primarily voluntarily say that they are interested mainly in 2 areas, incidentally both of which belong to the domain headed by Mr. Srinivas. One is the DLC success story, the other is CP crimes. And because this was a unique experiment of its own, in fact it all started in about 2014-15 when this government came in, because I was personally also of a very strong opinion that whether we should at all have a life certificate. So to me it sometimes appeared it was not very human that you ask an elderly person to go and get the proof of his being alive. So having worked in a number of hospitals, I had the experience of people vying for the death certificate, not for the sake of the one who is dead, but for the sake of claiming the insurance and other benefits that come with the death certificate of the person on whom you are dependent. So they would say, अगर किसी के डेथ बिहार में हुआ तो वो कहेगा उससे छुट्टी देते हुए डिस्चार्ज तो के साथ साथ डेथ सर्टिफिकेट भी लेते आना, नहीं तो दोबारा कौन लेने जाएगा. So that is the material, instinct of a mortal being. But to ask somebody, and then we started toying with this idea. Then Secretary Mr. Kothari spoke to him. Somehow he also discussed it with a couple of other colleagues. And then one day, someone from the banking sector who had known me for years came to look me up. And he said, I've heard you're toying with an idea like this. He said, no, it's not very fair because maybe the thought behind it is noble, but there are cases where misuse has happened. And he cited that because we were not very much into electronic era those days, and he cited one of the cases where they had come across an individual who had been claiming his father's pension, though after the death of his family pension, he was claiming full pension for as long as 6 years, because he had got all the checks signed. So he kept 2-3 checkbooks signed. So he said, yes, then I also realized that Samaj to sabhi ko mila ke hi banta hai, we are all children of the same society. Then we hit upon an alternative method of biometry, and then as the Indians have started living long, now the lifespan has increased. So after 75, 80, the biometry may not be that reliable. So I think it's also a matter of pride that we are among the first possibly in the government sector for having used face authentication technology for a good cause. Earlier on, it got to be adapted before us by the criminal world, but we are the ones who have used it for a noble purpose. And because there were in fact elderly citizens who didn't have the means to go all the way to the bank, they didn't have a dependent in the family, a dependent who could carry them. In fact, I was the caretaker of a very elderly relative, a lady, and before she passed away, for several years I was doing this certificate for her. Since I was a doctor myself, so I could just write and get away with that, but everybody could not have done that. So, and now that the other reason is, which is very much aligned with what Prime Minister keeps telling us, that we are now in the journey to Viksit Bharat, that every citizen has to contribute depending on his capacities, his mind. And now retirement age at 60 is rather young by the standards of the population composition. At the time of independence, the lifespan was hardly 50, 55, now it's gone up to 65, going towards 70. So even though we are by percentage more than 70% below the age of 40, as a whole, the absolute number of the plus 60 citizens is on the increase, and those retiring at 60 are at the prime of their expertise, their experience, also the domain expertise. So how best to put them in? For that also the pension department, I am glad, I must compliment, they have devised a number of methods. They have pre-retirement counseling, pre-retirement workshops, and then how to best to utilize their services later on. So from that point of view also, if we are to bring the ease of living and also ease of work in order to utilize their energies and time for better purposes, I think this is one of the most handy tools. And the response has been so encouraging because, and now of course, after 100, when you cross 100, you get full salary and pension. And you'll be glad to know that we have now in this country, at least in central government, 2,200 such elder citizens who are drawing full pension, full salary as a pension. So they have crossed 100. And after 95 also, you are almost 80? 95%. And in that category, we have 85,200 such individuals, nearly 90,000, who are drawing 95% of the salary as pension. So it's a huge, and in fact, for the first time in the last few years, 7-8 years, the number of pensioners has increased, has crossed the number of working employees, which was not so till about 1 decade back. So how best to use them? So it is from that point of view also. And as Mr. Srinivas said, that we started it about 3-4 years back. Now we've graduated learning from our experience, from our success, and also the pitfalls. And as we are now into this 4.0 from 1st of November to 30th of November, as of now, what is heartening is that even if you take the face recognition technology, we have had at least 25.4 lakh of the retirees who have used face recognition technology or face authentication, which is very encouraging because in the first year we didn't have many. Many were not very receptive because they were not oriented to it, they were not used to it, they didn't have much of an idea about it. In the second year, we learned that we could involve children. So many of the pensioners associations started involving children, going and, for them it was quite a fun getting the pictures of their grandparents and sending them to us. And gradually now the elder citizens started doing themselves. So the number is gradually going on increasing. And out of these 25.4 lakh of the pensioners who have used face authentication, we have, which is even more encouraging, we have 30,500 who are above 90. So that also explodes the myth that the super senior citizens are not compatible with the modern tools of technology. So I think it's not only ease of delivering pension, ease of furnishing certificate, it's also changing our social behavior, our economic behavior, and also making us used to the technological options which are available. And I must compliment all the departments, the officers over here who have very forthcomingly cooperated. I think the pension disbursing banks have set up their outlets in as many as 250 cities in more than 1,200 locations. And as was being mentioned by Secretary DOP WW that Prime Minister Modi has been talking about it from a number of platforms. He's spoken about it in Mann Ki Baat. He's also spoken it in some of the success stories when he was summing up the 11 years of the government performance. So I am glad that this department, which was earlier not talked about much in the government circles, has now become one of the most visible departments in the government circles, not only the central government but also the state governments, because of its public-oriented initiatives. That is in keeping with Prime Minister Modi's emphasis on citizen-centric governance. So you are also contributing to citizen-centric governance. So thank you very much and congratulations also.
I congratulate you for the life certificate campaign, such a program. But there has to be sort of a chip which can create, if the person is dead, that certificate should also be dead. If that particular stance is there, then I think it's a complete combination of having a certificate. If I die and if I still get a pension, it is useless for me, for my, basic karmas. Thank you.
So there are 2 points to it. Of course, even if you die, but I don't mean that you die. So one dies, then one would not be able to furnish the next year's certificate. So pension would automatically stop if the certificate is not generated again. But yes, there is still a merit in what you are saying. We could also technologically program it in such a manner that it does not even continue for a single month more. It doesn't need to be informed to the banking authorities. It automatically generates the information there and blocks it. That can be done. We can work on that.
आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।